Yeah, today we'll discuss about EC2. What is the meaning of EC2? Elastic Compute Cloud. So Elastic Compute Cloud. So what we are going to get from the EC2 is virtual computing environment. So virtual computing environment or maybe virtual servers we are getting. Same. Previously, if we want the servers, we need to go for physical servers or hypervisors, but without requiring any hardware, without installing any OS, we are getting the virtual servers. Okay. So that virtual servers in the AWS is called as instances. So we can call them as the instances, or for the instances, what we can tell is those virtual computing environments or virtual computing environments are called as EC2 instances. Okay, otherwise virtual missions. Okay, so what EC2 provides is high scalable computing resources. So what is the meaning of computing resources? CPU and memory are called as computing. Okay, so normally we have CPU and memory. Those are called as computing, and networking is provided by VPC. Storage is provided by EBS volumes. EBS volumes. Then monitoring is provided by. So which service is responsible for monitoring of EC2 instances? The Cloud Watch. Okay, so if you are getting an instance is directly or indirectly, we are using all these services. So computing is provided by EC2, networking is provided by VPC, storage is provided by EBS, monitoring is done through CloudWatch. Okay, so then can you tell me the difference between instance and host? What is the difference between instance and host in the EC2 terminology? What is the difference between EC2 instance and host? Okay, that host is nothing but physical server. Okay, so physical servers, and AWS is responsible for this. AWS is responsible for those servers. So by default, we are using shared host, or if you want, we can use for dedicated host also. Can you tell me what is the difference between shared host and dedicated host? Shared hosts are like the same
Public host.
multiple people can use. Okay, so whereas dedicated host, some companies purchase the complete host also, but it's risky to have the like a dedicated host, because if that host failures, more loss to our company. Okay, so some companies can buy 40 to 50 hosts also, and they will keep in the multiple zones. Even one host goes down also, the solution is highly availability. The solution is highly available, but as of now, we are going to use a shared host. As of now, we are going to use a shared host. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts till now? Any doubts?
So in the cloud point of view, host means it's a physical server,
It's a
right?
physical server. On top of the physical server, they will have the hypervisor. What is the hypervisor? Zen source. On top of that, we have the instances. But those instances also, it's not only our instances. There would be some hundreds of instances would be created. There would be hundreds of instances would be created.
And the instance will be responsible for this resources.
No. That is a server itself. We can deploy our applications on those instances.
Okay.
Say suppose you want to deploy an application. I want Linux, or I want Windows, or I want Mac. So these are the supported operating systems. In this one type of operating system is missing, that is Unix. Okay, so Unix is not supported by AWS, but which operating systems are supported? Linux, Windows, and Mac. In the Unix, we have Sun having Solaris. Okay, then HP Unix, and IBM having AIX. IBM having AIX, but those are not supported. So we can have a Linux, Windows, or Mac. Can you tell me some Linux distribution names?
Red Hat Linux.
Red Hat we have, otherwise Ubuntu or Oracle Linux. Okay, CentOS, Fedora. Okay, Amazon also has developed their own Linux, also called as Amazon Linux. Okay, so in Windows, so we have Windows server like 2012, 2016, 2019, 2022. So these all the server class. Don't expect Windows 10, Windows 11. Those all desktop class. But EC2 provides us
Server functions.
server class operating systems we are getting. Okay, so we are going to get this. So today we'll create EC2 instances. So if someone asks about what is the EC2 instance means, what is your terminology? So if someone asks about what is EC2 instance, is nothing but EC2
Elastic.
virtual machine itself. It's a virtual machine itself. Okay, so it's a virtual machine, and from the AWS cloud we are getting, and in the backend it is using networking. It's VPC. Storage wise, it is using EBS volumes. Okay, so there is a slight difference and very important from the interviews, but as of now, it's not supporting instant store. I'll tell one scenario here: EBS volumes versus instant store. Previously, it used to support instant store also. If I use the instant store, data is not persistent. Okay, so with the instant store, the important from the interview wise, but as of now, we are not using instant store, we are using EBS volumes itself. What is the concept of instant store is data is not persistent if we shut down or restart or stop instance, data is going to be lost. Okay, so whereas with the EBS volumes, data is persistent. Data is the persistent. Okay, so can you tell me the difference between EBS volumes and instant store? With the instant store, data is not persistent, whereas with the EBS volumes, data is the persistent. Data is the persistent. Okay, which is recommended to use is EBS volume. Okay, so I have a doubt here. Try to answer me. If we delete instance, what is going to happen to the EBS volume? I have an instance, I have deleted that instance. Then what is going to happen to that EBS volume?
Whatever the data is there in the EBS value, we can retain that. Instance stored data will be lost.
No. Here we are using EBS volume itself, but we terminated the instance, not stopped or
Oh,
shut
sorry.
down, restarted.
Okay, if we terminate whatever the
Yeah,
data,
EBS volume
data
also
will be
deletes, but we can store if we want. At the time of your EBS volume, there would be one option whether we need to keep it delete on termination, that like EBS volume need to be deleted or need to store it, is up to us. We need to select that. Okay, but by what is the default behavior is? What is the default behavior? Once we delete the or terminate the instance, automatically the EBS volume also is getting deleted. EBS volume also is getting deleted. Okay. So, and I have one more doubt, try to address. Can we have multiple EBS volumes to an instance? Can we have the multiple EBS volumes to an instance?
multiple storages. No, I think only one.
No, we can have just like external drive kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay, you can have an external disk or multiple hard disk also you can attach, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like this, we can have a multiple EBS volumes also can be attached to an instance. Okay, and I have one more doubt. Can we boot multiple instances from single EBS volume? That means I have 100 EC2 instances. I want to boot it from the single EBS volume itself. Is it possible?
I think it's possible. It's like EBS will become a shared drive and multiple instances.
Yeah, but it's for all the 100 also, it's possible to boot it from the single disk kind of thing. That means one hard disk can be boot 100 missions.
Booting wise.
Yeah, booting wise will have the challenges, but there are some solutions. We'll discuss that. Okay, but as of now, assume one-to-one mapping.
Okay.
But still there are some solutions we'll discuss. As of now, keep one-to-one kind of mapping itself. Okay, so then we need to understand one very, very important terminology called as security groups. So what is the concept of security groups is you need to understand firewall ports. Okay, so configurations are called as security groups. So what is that meaning of firewall? What is the firewall will do to a server? I will explain. As of now, we are creating from the server's perspective. It is going to filter or it's going to block the traffic. Okay, someone says, suppose we have a gatekeeper at the entrance, he can filter, right? He can check who are authorized, who are not authorized, and he can block some people. Like this here for a server firewall, what it will do? If any of the traffic is coming to the server, it is going to filter or block it. So here we have two types of things. One is inbound and outbound. So can you tell me what is the difference between inbound is from the external world to that server, what is the traffic is coming? Outbound is, what is the outbound traffic? From server to outside world. what is the traffic is going on is called as outbound rule. Okay, so can you tell me the difference between inbound and outbound? Inbound is the traffic coming to the server. Outbound is
Traffic going from the server.
yeah, from the server. What is the traffic? Which is more important for the security? Inbound or outbound?
Inbound.
Inbound rule. Okay, so mostly inbound is open. Here I'll tell one scenario. If it is an AWS instance in the security group for Linux, we need to open the port number 22 for SH. For Windows, we need to open the RDP port number 3389. If we don't open these port numbers, can you tell me what's going to happen?
The communication won't happen.
We can't connect to those instances also.
Yeah.
We can't connect you to those instances also. In the inbound rule, if you don't open a 22 or Windows, if it is RDP, what is the meaning of RDP is?
Yes.
Yeah, remote desktop protocol. SH is secure host. Okay, so these are the ports we need to open. In the outbound, what's happening by default is, in the outbound, what's going to happen is all traffic is allowed. By default, all traffic is allowed from outbound wise. Inbound wise, we need to configure those filters. You have hosted a website, then can you tell me which ports we need to open for HTTP? 80. But in the real time, we don't use HTTP. HTTPS. What is the HTTPS port number?
Secure socket.
443. If I don't open 80 or 443, even if I host the websites on those servers, I'm not able to access that. Even if I host the websites also, I can't access those servers. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts on this? Okay. So then once we configure the security, okay. So then definitely we need to choose instance types. We have different types of hardwares are available. You are going to purchase a laptop. Maybe you can think of i5, i7, or i3, or Celeron, P4. We have the different type of hardwares. Okay, CPUs, memory. You can choose by selecting the instance type. Like your cost also is going to be decided by instance type. Means how much money we need to pay. That is also depends upon the instance type. Okay, so these all we need to consider. So how much hardware we need to pay, how much CPU need to charge. There are a lot of instance types, but today I will explain one instance type, try to understand. I will explain more details on the instance types. We are going to choose T2.micro. T2 is one of the hardware kind of family from the AWS wise, and micro will give you one virtual CPU and one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM we are going to get it. Okay. Why we have chosen T2.micro in this account is we are using a free tier account, and for the free tier account, AWS is providing 750 hours as free of cost. Okay. In the free tier, you can use that for the 750 hours, we can use it. Okay, so for that we are going to we are going to use it. If we use T2 dot other than T2 dot micro, what is going to happen is okay, they will charge the amount for us. If the more billing comes, they will block our account. Hence, always use T2.micro. And in some of the new regions, okay, so T2 family is not available. That means in the new data centers, whatever the hardware is available, uh, pre like previous data center setups, they may have that. But today that hardware may be not available. If T2 family is not available, okay, then AWS is giving T3.micro. In which regions we need to use T3.micro? Mostly in the new regions, T2 is not available. In those regions, we need to use T3.micro. Okay. But if T2 is available, then T3 is not free tier. Hence, while creating your instances, make sure that is free tier eligible or not. Free tier eligible or not. Okay. So then can you tell me what is the meaning of AMI? What is the meaning of AMI? AMI stands for Amazon Mission Image. What is the meaning of Amazon Mission Images? It's a pre-configured AWS image or maybe template of OS. Sometimes it may have OS plus applications also. Okay, that pre-configured template from the AWS wise is we have AMI. Okay, most of the AMIs have been given by Amazon. We no need to install OS or apps also. Okay, so otherwise it takes a lot of time to install the OS and we don't know how to install Windows servers. We may not know how to install Mac. We don't have ISOs. Okay, so these all have been taken care by AMI. Okay, so what is your understanding of AMI? What is your understanding of AMI? Amazon Mission Image. So Amazon Mission Image, we are getting the pre-configured OS templates. And who is going to create those AMIs are Amazon creates, and we can also create, but we are going to keep them as community AMIs. So the community wise, we are going to get the AMIs. Those may be at the free of cost. We are going to get those community AMIs. And the second one is marketplace. In the marketplace, there would be commercial AMIs also may be available. I'll tell one example. We have one Red Hat Linux AMI. On top of that, SAP also is pre-configured. Okay, if I use that AMI, we may need to pay the amount to SAP also. Because it's not a free AMI. Okay, it's a marketplace AMI. That means for the AMI also sometimes we may need to pay the money. Okay, if that application is available or if something is available, you no need to take care that installations, all those of that application. Okay, can you tell me what is the difference between community AMI and the marketplace?
Marketplace one is the commercial ones and the community one is our customizable.
Community mostly the open source kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this AMI is it something similar to snapshot like that?
No. Snapshot is only at the VM level, the state is preserved.
Okay, yeah. State will be preserved in the snapshot.
With the AMI, there would be some millions of instances would be created by some millions of accounts.
Okay.
Say you have a Windows 10 ISO, everyone will keep that in the Microsoft website only. Okay, in my laptop also I may have Windows 11, in your laptop also may have Windows 7. The same ISO is that. Okay, but here this is the AMI, it's a pre-configured OS image. Whereas snapshot is the state of that your VM is preserved. But from the single AMI, multiple instances would be created. Okay, then we can create our own AMIs also. Say, I assume I want with my application 100 instances, then I no need to create the application 100 times. First, I will take an AMI. That is a generic available AMI. On top of that, what I'll do is, I will set up all my application settings. That instance I will convert into AMI. Then if you want 100 missions, all the 100 instances also can be created from my own AMI with your applications, with your requirements. We can create our own AMIs also. We can create our own AMIs also. Any doubts on this? Okay. Any doubts on this? So we can have our own AMIs. We'll do this. Marketplace we can't use much, but I'll show how to go to marketplace because most of them are the commercial images, and mostly we'll use community AMIs. Most of them are free of cost. But here, if you use a community AMI also for the instance, like if it is not a free tier, we need to pay the money. So don't expect everyone in the real time will use the free tier itself. For the practice purpose, they're giving us free tier account. Okay. Then I'll finish with the small concept called as a tax. So what is the meaning of tax in the even in the everyone are popular with the hashtags, right? In the Insta or maybe like in the Twitter we'll call it as tweets. What is the advantage of hashtag? What is the advantage of hashtag? What is the advantage of hashtag is we can search or filter the resources based on tags, or we can call that as meta tags. I'll tell one use case. I have 100 resources, not only instances only. I have 40. I given the tag is ITCM. 60. I given the tag is JPMC. If I search with the ITCM tag, how many resources I will get it? 40. If I use the filter JPMC, I may get the resources. How many resources I will get it? 60. So like this, if you want to filter or if you want to search the resources, we can attach the tags, but it's a pure optional feature. It's a pure optional feature. If you don't give tags also, nothing is going to happen. If you don't give tags also, is nothing going to happen. But in the large scale infrastructures, appropriate tags helps us to search or filter the resources easily. Okay. Then which network we are using while creating the instance? By default, it is using the VPC, right? By default, for every account, we are getting a default VPC. and we are going to use that default VPC who provides, AWS provides. Okay, then we are getting one public IP and one private IP. Who is giving this public IP and private IP for us? AWS itself is providing. Okay, so over the internet, can you tell me um, which IP we need to use, public IP or private IP? Over the internet, are we going to connect through public IP or private IP? So we are going to connect through public IP only. Over the, without having the internet, with the private IP, we can't connect. Okay, so private IP is used for
Community networks.
only for the internal communication within the network. We can use the private IP. Okay, if you want to connect through the public IP, then we need to use like if you want to connect over the internet, then we need to use the public IP itself. Okay. Yeah. Any other doubts? Any doubts? Okay, so then like once we create this, the public IP, private IP, there is a one more word, small word, but very important from the interview wise, called as elastic IP. What is the concept of elastic IP is, like by default, what is the public IP we are getting from AWS is a dynamic IP. What is the meaning of the dynamic IP is that IP is keep on changing. But if you want, so for my web server, I don't want a dynamic IP. For 1 year, I want to use the same IP. By default, what is the public IP we are getting from AWS? Is static IP or dynamic IP? By default, that elastic IP we are getting, right? Sorry, what by default we are getting a public IP, right? Whether that IP address is a static IP or dynamic IP. So by default, we are getting is a dynamic IP. What is the concept of dynamic IP is, if we shut down or restart that instance, there is no guarantee. Again, we'll get the same public IP. That may be changes. Okay, if we want static public IP, then we need to purchase elastic IP. Okay, so in this use case, we need to purchase the elastic IP. Okay, by default, for every region, AWS provides the option to use 5 elastic IPs. Okay, so we can use 5 elastic IPs per region. Okay, so what is the difference? By default, we are getting is so by default, we are getting is normal IPs. Those are like dynamic IPs. But if you want like any requirement from the client, I want the same permanent IP, then we need to use the elastic IPs we need to use. Okay, so once we configure all this, and by default, we are getting one private IP also, and these all we are getting IPv4 addresses. So we are not getting IPv6 by default, but if we want IPv6 address also, we can configure. Okay, so then I'll go to AWS. So we need to go for AWS Management Console. So we need to go for the AWS Management Console. Okay, so then either root user or either the root user or IAM user, we need to log in. Okay, so now here we can log in as a or say we can log in as a IAM user or root user. In the real time, can you tell me which one we are going to use? Root account or IAM user?
Account.
Yeah, no. Only for the first time we need to go for root account. From the next time onwards, we need to create the IAM itself. Means in the real time also, first we are going to configure the IAM itself. But as of now, for your practice purpose, you are using root account. Okay, so here when I'm logging as a root account, I need to enter my account ID also. So this is every account will have a 12-digit account ID. 73033 59878. 1 second. IAM user. So in the real time also we are going to use as an IAM user itself, not hmm, 730335259,878. Otherwise, I'll use another user account. So even if someone asks the credentials also, in the real time, we need to share the IAM user credentials itself, not our IAM credentials. For that user, need to create an IAM user. No, it is not allowing. Let me ping him. Instead of IAM user, I'll try to log in as the root account. Yeah, here as a root account, I am able to log in. Okay, so now here we need to search for the service. EC2 is the service. EC2. So here we are going to create the virtual servers. Okay, so now here we have the EC2 and we are in which region? We are in the North Virginia region. So this is the North Virginia region. Okay, so now how many instances we are running is 0 instances we are running. So now here we can click on launch the instances. So whenever we want an instance, we can click on the launch instance. Okay, so now here we need to enter any name, but this is not the technically the host name, is just one tag itself. Okay, technically it's not a host name kind of thing. So then I have given one name, Wipro server 001, and here we have lot of AMIs. So these all quick start AMIs means important AMIs they can keep. And what is this my AMIs? We can choose our own AMIs also if we have, we can see here. Then the third one is like here browse for more AMIs. We can browse also more AMIs. As of now, I'm going to choose the quick start. In this around 20 to 40 AMIs they have chosen. Okay, so you want Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, Red Hat, whatever you want, you can choose. Or SUSE Linux. This is Mac, Windows, Debian. Except that Mac and Windows remaining all are Linux flavors only. Okay, assume we have Ubuntu we want. Okay, so if I go for the Ubuntu, say here I'm going to choose the Ubuntu server 24.04. Just like Windows having 2012, 2016, Ubuntu Red Hat is available as 7, 8, 9 like this. Some important versions we need to know. As of now, we are using Ubuntu server 24.04. And what is that LTSR means? It's a long-term support release. Say, what is that long-term support we'll discuss. Mostly in the production servers, we'll prefer to use LTSR versions. And HVM means it's a hypervisor virtual machine. Okay, that means it's running on Gen server kind of thing. Okay, so then here, what is this is x86 we have, right? What is that meaning is it's going to be installed on Intel hardware. You can choose ARM. This is AMD base. Okay, so as of now, I've chosen the x86. Then instance type. Today just go through the different type of instance types. But as of now, I'm going to use T2 dot micro. So with this, how many CPUs we got? One virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM. Okay, and it's free tier eligible. Your account is, if it is a free tier, for 750 hours, AWS are providing instances at free of cost per month. Okay, so then definitely for our AWS instances, there is no concept of password for the Linux servers. For the security purpose, we need to use the key pairs. The key pair is a combination of public key and private key. Both have been paid, and public key is with the instance, and AWS provides the private key for us. If we don't have the private key, it's impossible to connect to that instance. So now here I'm going to create a new key pair. I'm going to create a new key pair here. And what is this RSA algorithm, ED25519? These are the encryption algorithms. And RSA is one of the very famous algorithm, but ED25519 also is getting popular day by day. And we have two file formats. What is .pem, .ppk? I will explain in the tomorrow class. Mostly for the first 1 week, use the .pem extension itself, called as like private enhanced mail, whereas PPK stands for putty private key. My Wipro key, I have given the name as, and it's a RSA encryption algorithm, and we are going to use the PEM file format. Okay, then I'm going to create a key pair. Then one key pair has been created. Public key is with the instance, and they have given us private key. Okay, then as of now, we are going with the default networking itself. That means already one VPC subnets all have been created by AWS and auto assign public IP. If I enable this option, then only I'm going to get the public IP. If you don't want public IP, then you can disable that. But we can't connect over the internet. Okay, so then definitely it's a Linux instance. We need to connect through SSH only for the remote Linux servers. Okay, so then we need to open the port number. What is the SH port number? What is the SH port number? 22 is the port number. Okay, so optionally we can choose this also, but as of now I'm not using this. Only 22 I have opened. Okay, then storage. So here if I use the storage means backend which service it is using?
ESB,
EBS.
EBS, sorry, EBS.
How much? 8 GB of GP3. This is general purpose 3. GP2 is old one. Provisioned. What are these types also we'll discuss. Why I'm not choosing provisioned here is for free of cost they're using general purpose.
EBS.
Magnetic. Okay. So hence I'm using GP3. General purpose 3 this is. And you want to attach more volumes also, you can attach. Okay, if want more volumes also, we can attach, but still we have a lot of advanced options also. We'll go through this every day. Okay, so then here we have a summary page. How many number of instances you want, and all the above options, it shows a display of this. Okay, then once you click on the launch instance, our instance is getting created for us. Our instance is getting created, and it doesn't take more than 2 to 5 minutes. We chosen the Ubuntu, right? From that AMI is just a small clone, and one VM is created, and they got an ID. A small automation is happening in the backend. A small automation is going to happen in the backend. Okay. So then here that instance state comes to pending, but it should comes to running state. Okay. And if we go to this instance ID, we got a public IP, we got a private IP, public IP DNS name. Okay. Instance state now came to pending to running state. Okay. Stop, starting, shutdown. These all like people will explain the instance life cycle. Okay. Then the platform here shows which platform we have chosen is Ubuntu. Okay. Then that is the AMI ID we use. So just explore all these options once, spend some time. Then here status is very, very important. Here we have two status checks. As of now, it's initializing. First status check is called as system status check. Second one is called as instance status check. Okay, then monitoring, CloudWatch will provide us basic monitoring also. So these all the metrics we are getting by default, like what is the CPU utilization, network input, output, network packets, how many packets are transferred, input, output, what is the credit usage. These all by default at free of cost, they're giving basic monitoring. But if you want detailed monitoring, we need to enable detailed monitoring. Then they will charge the money. Say here you can enable managed detailed monitoring, but they will charge the money for that. Then we can go through the security. Okay, so that security group we have open, right? 22. So just go through this one, networking, EBS volumes, all these just explore once. Okay, then how to connect we'll discuss in the tomorrow class. And if I go to instance, start, stop, restart, terminate, these all we can do it. Okay, if you stop it, you can start it also, and you can reboot. For Windows, we can go for hibernate mode, and we can terminate the instance also. Okay, so that is the state management kind of things. Then here we have a lot of actions also we can perform. Going forward, we'll discuss this. Okay, and this is the instance ID. All over the globe, we are going to get one unique instance ID. Then I have terminated that instance also. Say if you have a snapshot, even we can restore that instance. If we delete also or terminate also, we can restore. Okay, say till this, everyone should able to do it. Okay, then how to connect it to this Linux instance and Windows instance, we'll discuss in the tomorrow class. Okay. Yeah, any doubts on this?